travel classy and grassy with Cutter and Cash Singleton and a whole lot more. 307 Island Cove Lane in Dawson Springs. Bluegrass on Bashir supports pro-life crisis pregnancy centers in West Kentucky. Visit bluegrassonbashir.com or facebook.com/bluegrassonbashir for info. We are picking life.
Good morning. Friday morning quarterback with Gator and DT. We have Gator out for a few minutes, so I get to plug my little talk in for just a second. Great to see you out there. Hope you're listening to us this morning. We've given some shout-outs here over the past to quite a few people, and I know some of them probably getting tired of hearing it, but we do have a couple more. I went out to pay my country club bill, and the staff out there said that they listened every week, and I told them, I said, yeah, it's probably because Joe makes you. But they did say they listen to us every week, and I want to give a shout-out also to my old buddy Bobby Franklin that listens to us, and he's doing real well, and proud of him. He's got a lot of weight put back on him, and he looks like a different person. And we thank you, Bob, and also out at Joe Mack's place. Ty, we had some good ball game last Friday night. I got to go to the game. My son was in, and he rode over with me. I took Ben and Holly and Drake.
Oh yeah.
And
I think I saw Wes was in.
With the family in my car, we had trouble getting all of us in there, but we had a good time riding over. We stopped down at Fredonia at old Chad Fawn's place and had us some great barbecue. And I'll tell you what, it was a fine little stop. We stopped there and talked for a while, and then we zoomed on down to the game. And I'm going to be honest with you, that was probably the most people I believe I've ever seen at Union County. Of course, I haven't been there a lot of times, but their whole side was full.
They had a big crowd, and boy, we brought a nice crowd as usual. But boy, you looked over there. I was on our side where our broadcast was set up, and man, I mean, it was an impressive crowd for them. They were fired up, and I think they didn't have much to choose for, to cheer for right away. But
they didn't, and I tell you what, they were big. They looked like. I mean, I thought we were going to be in trouble just from looking at them. Of course, you do that as a coach. I don't know. We have Alan Schaefer here today as a soccer coach, and I don't know when they get off the bus if they're scared with their big boys, or they probably look for the small ones that are fast. But last week they were tough look. I mean, they looked as good as Paducah just standing on the field.
They did, but they were ranked number 10, in the poll. But I'm not sure. You throw the Tigers on the field with them. I don't think the Tigers made them look like they were the number 10 team in 3A. Do you?
No, I didn't. I tell you what, Ken Parker. I talked to him during the game, and he said that he asked Oliver what he thought about the game, and he said Oliver told him that they were going to kill him. And I'm thinking, that's a good thing that they feel that way, but I didn't see it happening. But they sure did.
Yeah,
they put it on. It was a very good. And one other thing here, and Gator just came in. We'll let him do a little talking. But what I was maybe not impressed or disimpressed. I don't know what you want to use the word, but I thought they were cheap. They always were, and I didn't really care for it. I don't know if coaches do that. I know you have kids sometimes. They get mad and they want to cheap shot you. But they're early in the game 5 or 6 times. They cheap shotted us, and they didn't do anything about it. It was bad.
I did notice there were a few players that seemed to be a little bit on the ambitious, rowdy side, whether it was during the play or after the play. A few of our players would get tangled up and a little extracurricular activity going on, But, they're always physical. But it seemed like there's a little extra going on, too.
Some teams are always like that, and I even remember in high school when we played them up here where they're playing soccer now, Union County would come over here, and they were physical. They were tough, but they're a little on the cheap side.
There's no doubt. It's good to get out there with that win.
It was
that
great.
It can be a tough play, especially
with
good teams.
Even when we jumped up 21-0, I was still a little shaky because I couldn't see them not coming back. I just couldn't see it because they looked good. They were good-looking kids. And then when the halftime came, though, their best lineman, the big number 56 or whatever, it took him for about an hour and a half to get from one end of the field to the goalpost. And then he had to go all the way up to the top of the hill there to get in the locker room. And I didn't figure they'd even make him go up there because I didn't know if he'd get back or not.
Yeah. Oh, that's good stuff. What do you think about it, Coach?
Great win. I mean, anytime you can go on the road, especially to Union County, and tough place, DT mentions, a tough place to play at. And, they were undefeated. Of course, there's questions about the quality of their opponents, but, they're still undefeated. Hopkinsville is probably aware of that last night.
Boy.
You know, they went down to Logan County and played a much improved Logan County team and got beat on the very last play of the game. So it just goes, you know, good competition prepares you, but, you know, winning breeds winning. And, you know, kids came ready to play, and, you know, we've won some very big games on the road this season.
Todd talked about that yesterday on the sideline report, how winning just kind of breeds winning, just about that. The traditions, the winning, and, you know, Chris George mentioned the same thing when he called in, and that's the truth. Why did they play Thursday night, Logan and Hopkinsville?
People up in South Central Kentucky was on fall break this past week, and of course, you know, our end of the state, I think, is going on fall break this coming week.
Right.
So today, I know here in Caldwell County is the last day before fall break, and they moved the game to Thursday night, and several, you know, of the teams up in that area, Louisville area, played last night, and you know, it's just, you know, that time of the year.
Forgot about fall
and
break.
A lot of schools during fall break doesn't even have a game.
Right.
You know, I noticed Mayfield, Graves County, several of those that were out this week doesn't even play this week. So they do that in the scheduling, and of course when they set the school calendars for each year, you know, they kind of take that in consideration as well.
Gotcha.
That's something you got to do, is figure out who's on break and who's not with that job you got, don't you? You got,
you know, and of course this morning I've been a wreck, knowing that
Been on a conference call.
I've been on a conference call since, you know, 7:15, and you know, trying to get all the knowledge on this insight, and of course that's part of my job. But anyway, you know, it's just something you got to do, and I apologize for being late. And you know, I'm looking forward to our interview here with our guest in our studio.
Take her away.
We've got Alan Schaefer, the head soccer coach, boys soccer coach at Caldwell County High School. And Alan, we want once again welcome you to the program and congratulate you on a fine regular season. Of course, I think the regular season is over, and the district tournaments begin next week. Tell us a little about what to expect.
We play, of course, North is the number 1 seed in our district. Dawson didn't have a team this year, so there's only 3 of us. We'll play Hopkins Central in the first round. We played them in the regular season, and we were tied after regulation. We were still tied after 2 5-minute overtimes, so it went to penalties. And we got out of there with a win on penalty shots. So we didn't play real well, so I'm hoping when we see them Monday, we're a little bit better off.
so how many overtimes did you say?
2 5-minute.
2 5-minute. Oh, I thought you said 5 overtime. My goodness.
no.
I didn't know if I could run that much if I was playing soccer.
So is Madisonville the top seed in the
Yeah,
district?
they are.
And then are we?
We're second.
We're second and playing the 3rd seed,
That's
Hopkins
correct.
Central. Where's the district being played at?
Being played at Hopkins Central.
Okay.
And where was the game when you played them and tied?
At Hopkins Central.
There you go.
Yeah.
Well, things will go better over there, hopefully. And when is this game?
Monday night at 7:30.
Monday night at
And then the
7:30.
winner will play at 7:30 on Thursday, I believe.
I believe that's right.
Okay. Tell us a little bit about your team.
Well, we don't have any freshmen on the team, so if there's any young people out there who are athletic and feel like they might want to play soccer, we could sure use some young ones. We've got several middle schoolers on the JV, but we could use a few more young ones. We've got I think it's 5 seniors. We've got several juniors. I don't even remember how many now, but I want to say 7 or 8, and then I think we're 4 sophomores. Our kids have it's a really mature, to me, group of kids, as far as they act a lot older than you wouldn't think some of them are teenagers, the way they carry themselves and their outlook on the game. They're hard workers, and really proud of them. We've always had, seemed like 1 or 2 that struggle when they face adversity and want to, not necessarily act the right way, but we've really had a team, especially the last couple 3 weeks, that handles stuff really well and conducts themselves really well, and I'm really proud of them for that.
Well, that makes a coach take a good deep breath and know every morning when you come to work or go to practice or go to a game, you know, the one thing you're not having to worry about is that.
Yeah.
That's great.
One of the worst feelings as a coach is knowing you're going to practice and you got issues to deal with, or you're expecting to have issues, and you know, that's a credit to you and your coaching staff. Tell us a little bit. Are you primarily got the same coaches helping you?
Well, no. I think the last 3 years I've had 3 different assistants. Yates, of course, Kyle Yates was the assistant a few years ago, and he ended up taking a job, I think, in Logan County over there, but he didn't have any background in soccer. He was an athlete. He picked it up pretty quick, and he was a help the second year, I'll say. But when he moved, I think Matt Harper came in as the assistant, and he ended up going to Trigg County this year coaching their girls team. So I went most of the season without an assistant. My daughter turned 21. She played here for Coach Ray, and one year, her senior year, she played for Coach Fuquay. And she turned 21 a few weeks ago, and she's going to be able to help me now. This last week she came a little bit, and she'll be there in the postseason helping out. So I've had most of the season to myself with them.
You're on a 4-game win streak, aren't you?
Yeah.
I think that's right.
Yeah.
Coming off a 4-game losing streak, I think.
But still, hey, that's momentum.
You got
going
momentum
in,
going
That's
into
right.
the district.
That's right.
How do you feel about with fall break falling this week, and you know you got the big district encounter coming up?
It's really tough. You were talking about football being able to schedule for some of that. You know, our schedule's done usually by the time we leave for Christmas break, and by that time the school's calendar committees, excuse me, haven't even met. We don't even know when our fall break is when we go to schedule.
Right.
And there's been years there for, I think, 2 or 3 years in a row, we'd lose at least one game that we had on our schedule every fall break because somebody would have to call and say, look, we're not going to have enough kids to play a game. Right. So we're going to have to drop it. And that's kind of aggravating.
Well, excuse me, Al, the other part of that is, too, you're at the vocational school, and they're on kind of a different track or schedule than we are.
Yeah.
Or I say the school system. And sometimes I know when everybody else is out, I would drive by up there, and there's a school bus from another county over there, so you might be working.
Yeah, we're on a little different calendar than everybody else. And the last few years, our principals worked real hard to meet with all the schools we have feed in and try and get everybody that we serve, at least, their calendar on the same, and get everybody on the same page. And there's been years, I think it was 2 years ago, there was one school that just was adamant about keeping their fall break a different week than the rest, and she just said, well, our school's closed. You'll have to keep them. So it helps us a little bit to get some time off as teachers. But I mean, I can remember when Mr. Dunn was there, and then Miss Gray was the principal. We're not on a so many day contract. We're on a 10.5-month contract, and if the school's out for a Caldwell County teacher, they're off. They don't have to worry about it. If we want off, we've got to use some leave time to be off. So a lot of the times, I just go into work anyway. There's plenty up there to do.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Well, I know as a coach, you want to try to keep your players in routine.
Yeah.
And, you know, when school's not in session, and of course,
that
parents
makes it
have hard times planning vacations, and,
Yep.
you know, you kind of run into issues of not having them come to practice, and, and you know, that's just something that you have to deal with. And and I know Coach Barnes is probably going to come in, and he's got a game scheduled next week against Fort Campbell here at home and another district encounter, and I know he likes to keep his players on schedule.
Yeah, we'll practice next week, assuming we win Monday. You know, we'll have a little practice session Tuesday and probably Wednesday too. And
but to your advantage, the other schools in your district are off as well.
I think that's right.
Madisonville's out. I know Hopkins County, they start their fall break, this coming week. But some of the further western Kentucky schools are on fall break this week, and as I mentioned earlier, you know, some of them didn't schedule games. I think Mayfield doesn't even practice the whole week.
Is that right?
You know, they let their kids off. I think Coach Morris just, you know, kind of shuts it down there for a while and lets them, you know, catch the breath a little bit and regroup, and they'll start back up. Of course, if we had the luxury of Mayfield, you know, we could probably do it too. But I know you're looking forward to the district tournament. The region is the week after.
The week after.
Where will it be played? 2 of the 3 teams are going to advance.
That's correct. The top 2 teams, whoever plays Thursday night, that one of them will be the winner and one of them will be the runner-up for our district, and they'll both go to region. And you know, I'm not sure where that's held this year.
I can't think where it is. I've seen brackets, but I can't think where it is off the top of my head. Todd, where are you?
Well, all you have to worry about is winning.
Yeah, we just need to worry about coming out of there with a win.
They'll tell you where to go.
Yeah.
So, well, Coach, we appreciate you coming in this morning and talking to us. And
Glad
is
to
there
be
anything
here.
else you'd like to add or ask the community or
No, I'm just
come out and support you?
glad to have support. If you can come out Hopkins Central, we appreciate a little noise on our side.
You know, we invited you as well as Eric Jacobs, and of course Eric is tied up and couldn't get away. And you know, we want to wish the best of luck to both you and the girls soccer team as y'all enter district.
I think the girls team had a good win last night
They
against
did. I
McCracken.
saw where they beat McCracken
Late in the
2-1.
game, had a late goal by I think Tally Freeman scored a late goal, gave him a win. So
And I think that was an add-on game, wasn't it?
I think it was.
It was one that wasn't scheduled,
Yeah.
and it was a big win. Anytime you can beat a 6A school,
McCracken County is pretty tough.
they're pretty tough. So
Yeah.
congratulations go out to our girls soccer team as well.
Yeah. Well, thanks for having me. I appreciate
Thank you,
it.
Alan. We appreciate you coming by, buddy.
You
Thank
bet.
you, Alan, for coming in. We've been talking to Alan Schaefer, the head boys soccer coach at Caldwell County High School. We're going to take a short break, and we'll be right back. You're listening to Tiger Sports Talk on 103.3 FM, The Tiger.
New car buyers, listen up. We need to move our new car and truck inventory fast, and we need your trade. At Trice Hughes Incorporated, we know the dollar is tight, but there's never been a better time to buy a new vehicle. With fantastic rebates, low rates, awesome trade allowance, and 7 American car lines to choose from, Trice Hughes Incorporated is sure to fit you with the perfect vehicle at a price that's pleasing. And as always, if we don't have what you want on our lot, we'll find it for you. Don't go out of town for a good deal. Stay in town for a great deal. Trice Hughes Incorporated, where your trade is worth more. It's that time of year again. Soon leaves will be falling. Football and deer season is right around the corner. When those little critters get stirring around, sometimes our vehicles get in their way. When that happens, Trice Hughes Incorporated hopes you remember our body shop to get you back on the road. We offer free estimates, 3-stage paint process that is guaranteed as long as you own your vehicle, and certified technicians that together offer 120 years of combined experience. We keep rental vehicles readily available, so even if your car is out of commission, you don't have to be. Trice Hughes Incorporated, Highway 91 North in Princeton. Trice Hughes in Princeton would like to give a big shout out to one of our own, Jeff McDowell. Jeff has given Trice Hughes 34 years as one of our top service technicians, and General Motors thinks so also, as they selected Jeff in the top 20 service technicians out of over 7,000 in the Southeast region. We are so proud of you, Jeff. The extra time and dedication it takes to achieve this honor speaks volumes about him. Trice Hughes Incorporated offers top-notch service on all your GM and Chrysler vehicles by certified technicians Monday through Friday, 6:30 a.m. to 3:30 p.m. Call 270-365-5522 for your appointment today. Trice Hughes Incorporated, Highway 91 North in Princeton. New car buyers, listen up. We need to move our new car and truck inventory fast, and we need your trade. At Trice Hughes Incorporated, we know the dollar is tight, but there's never been a better time to buy a new vehicle. With fantastic rebates, low rates, awesome trade allowance, and 7 American car lines to choose from, Trice Hughes Incorporated is sure to fit you with the perfect vehicle at a price that's pleasing. And as always, if we don't have what you want on our lot, we'll find it for you. Don't go out of town for a good deal. Stay in town for a great deal. Trice Hughes Incorporated, where your trade is worth more.
Back here at Tiger Sports Talk with DT and Gator at 103.3 FM, The Tiger. We've been talking to boys head soccer coach Alan Schaefer here live in the studio right now. We've got with us Coach David Barnes, who's walked in, It's always good to see you, Coach. Thanks for dropping by.
Yeah, good to see you guys.
Coach, you got a big game tonight, another district encounter against the Trice County Wildcats. It's called the 139 Bowl. Can you tell us how basically that got established?
It's 3 years or 4 years we've done this. It was Kobe Lewis's idea to do this, and he got with me, and he said, since we've been playing so many years, that he thought we ought to do something that, a trophy. It's a traveling trophy that he had made up, and it's a pretty nice looking trophy, and thank goodness we've been able to keep it at our place, and hopefully we'll be able to do that again tonight.
I hope we do.
Yeah, I do too. I think
we've always had some pretty good games with Trice County, and back when Gator and I first was here, we had to deal with Al Baker and people like that all the time, and they were pretty strong. I mean, really were.
Of course, Dixie Jones has been over there for so many years, and him being a former Caldwell County Tiger and, a longtime coach over at Trice County, we had some awful good battles against one another there on the field back in the days.
Sure did. We enjoyed those. Those were good games. They were nerve-wracking games. Since we were so close, you always wanted to win, but a lot of times they were pretty strong, and it was tough. And you go over there and in that area, man, it was tough over there. Remember when one game we played and we were going to bring him up one time. The guy won the game for us, really, is old Brian Davis. Remember that?
Big Brian. That's
I don't know how many people remember him here, but he moved in here, and he was playing fullback that night and had a bad leg, couldn't even hardly walk. We had to run traps, which I don't run anymore, but we had to run those.
I think that was the year we were having all the issues at the high school.
Might have been.
And we went over and, that was back in the late 80s, I believe, and Brian did. He took it on his back. And
ran that poor boy to death.
He did. We ran him, and I think we won in a very close ball game, like 8-6 or something, had to go for 2 to win. So we've had some big battles, and, of course, it was our intentions here earlier to try to get Coach Dixie Jones on.
Right.
And, somehow he had something else to do, and we would have loved to have him on, but and talk about old times. I know you and he grew up together.
Yeah, we used to haul hay together. Of course, Robert, his older brother's my age, and Dixie's a year younger. And I told David earlier that back in the day, of course, all you had to do was haul hay. That was all you could do, and they ran their own truck. And then on the weekends, they had a little brother, Kurt. He's the one that got killed, but he loved riding those horses. He was ornery as they could be. And he could take those ponies, and we'd go run those barrel races. We'd hook it up to the police car and go out of town. Here we went.
And his dad, of course, was a longtime county judge, Jimmy Jones here. And just a fine man.
Stan Hudson's dad, they swapped jobs about every 4 years.
Oh.
One of them was judge, one of them was a sheriff. And they were great people.
They were. Well, Coach Barnes, give us a little outlook on tonight's game.
Trice County, they're 4-3. They played Crittenden County, which is, I think, the only game that we have in common. And, Crittenden went up on them 14-0, and they came back and won that football game. They got a really good quarterback, sophomore quarterback. I think transferred in there from Christian County. That big kid, about 200-pound kid that runs the ball well, he throws it well, and he's the type of kid that, we got to do a great job of containing him.
Well, it sounds like, it's going to be another good challenge for us. Anytime you go on the road, you got to, play your best. And, of course, last week was a great game for us, especially going it down to Union County and kind of jumping up on them early. We got Coach Kobe Lewis now that's going to join us here on the telephone. Coach Lewis?
Hey, how's it going?
It's going great. Glad to have you here on the show today. I know you got a big encounter tonight, taking on the Caldwell County Tigers in the 139 Bowl, and we've got Coach Barnes here with us as well, discussing about tonight's game. And I asked him the question earlier, how we got started with the 139 Bowl. Can you give us kind of a background on that?
Yeah, for us it started, we were in a Booster Club meeting, and John David Firkman, who was a player for us back in the day. I mean, he loved the rivalry between us and Caldwell, and it's the oldest, longest ongoing rivalry in our school. So he's like, we need to do something to make sure that this thing keeps going. And we were in district with Caldwell there a while, and then we got out of district, and we wanted to make sure that we kept kept it going. So I kind of sparked the idea to Coach Barnes, and he was all about it. And I kind of started putting together some ideas and gave Trophy Land and Mike Wright some ideas, and he started building the trophy. And we had local grocery stores, Hancock's in both counties, and they, kind of footed paying for the trophy and whatnot, and they just kind of got going.
Well, Coach, I tell you, we were talking earlier. We've had some tremendous games over the years in the past with Trigg County, and of course, it is probably our biggest rivalry as well here in Caldwell, being bordering counties and all. And we know that you've gotten off to a good start this season. You're sitting here right at 4-2 right now. I know you're coming off a tough loss from Paducah Tillman last weekend. Tell us a little bit about your team.
We're young. I mean, I think we've got 2 touchdowns that's been scored this year by somebody that would be a senior, and other than that, they're young guys, and a lot of them are sophomores at that. So, we're young, and up front we got a few older guys, and on defense we got a few older guys, but we're not big at all. We're small. I was talking to some people about that last night. I think our biggest offensive lineman's 230, 235 that gets significant minutes. We got another guy that gets in there some who's about 250, but we got some 170-pound guys up front, and we moved some DBs to defensive line because we just didn't have a lot of size. And, that's really helped us out, to be honest, because we've got a guy in there now, it's really quick and gets after it a little bit. So, but when you play a team that's going to line up, like Paducah did last week with 260-pound guys across the front, you sometimes get in trouble. So,
yeah, we know that feeling, too. We saw them play over here.
Yeah, y'all's outcome a little different than ours.
Well, that's okay. They were pretty strong. They had a good line. They were tough.
They were good. They're a good team, and I think they had their coming out party last week. It felt really good in Paducah, and I think they was happy to be at home.
Well, Coach, we know you've gotten off to a big district win. You defeated Fort Campbell a few weeks ago, and you got that first win under your belt in the district, and that's got to make you feel good as well.
Oh, yeah, we're excited about that. And, it's a game that we didn't feel like we played too well in the last couple of years, and actually probably played our worst football game the last two years against Fort Campbell. And this year our kids came out and played. Our quarterback was banged up in that game, so it kind of limited what we wanted to do offensively. But we were still able to play good defense and have the ball bounce our way. We don't feel like the ball's bounced our way much lately, but in that game the ball bounced our way. And we caught a break, and next thing you know, you went in the football game. So, our kids are excited, and they're working hard.
Well, I had asked Dixie to come over here. This is DT, I'm sorry, but I had asked him to come, and of course I knew he wasn't teaching anymore, and I thought, well, he could get out and get over here, and of course he's from here, and that's why we were going to get him over here and pound him a few times. But how are the things going as far as coaching wise? I know Dixie has to be helping you.
Oh my goodness, yeah. I think Dixie, I don't think he was too excited about coming over here. Number one, you hit the nail on the head. Dixie doesn't teach anymore, so I don't know if he likes to get up early in the morning.
There you go. I should have tried the show a little later.
Yeah, if you told him the show was about 11 o'clock, you'd have probably got him over there. But when you say something, we're talking about practice next week during fall break, and I think I can get the kids there a little bit more than I can get Dixie. He ain't too happy about that early practice time. But, no, I'd be in a lot of trouble if I didn't have Coach Jones. He does anything that we ask him to do, from when we're fundraising to washing cars to breaking film down to, anything that we ask him to do, he's going to do it. And, he was my high school football coach, and when I became the head coach, it was no doubt that, I wanted him to be around if he wanted to be, and he's been with me, and he's been my right-hand man ever since.
That's great. He's old school. He's like the rest of us. We used to line the field and mow the grass and wash the uniforms and do it all. That's just the way it was.
Right.
And Dixie can't get that out of his system, I'm sure. But I know the kids love him too.
Oh, they do. And, it's just a unique situation because he doesn't talk much, and
never has.
And I was the same way when I was coming up playing for him. I didn't think he ever spoke outside of football. And, when he starts talking to our kids, they light up because they're like, well, Coach Jones talked to me today, and it's he's a man that doesn't like to talk a lot, but when he does, it's special. And, our kids really bond with him well, and we're glad to have him.
It makes a difference, too, when he's been over there for so long that he's either had their daddies or their granddaddies or somebody playing.
Now he's got the grandkids.
Yeah,
that helps a lot, to be perfectly honest, because he does know these guys and knows where they live, and things of that nature, and it does help a lot.
Well, is he still running the 5-2? Or y'all call it a 3-4 now, don't you? Or
yeah. It's he's still gonna call it
an odd man
5,
front, right?
Yeah, we argue about that in the coaching office quite often. So just as a running joke.
Terminology is changed somewhat, but it's still the.
He got there for a little while where he was in an even front, just based on the person, a 40 front based on the personnel that we had. But he wants to be in a 50 if he can be in a 50. And I'm gonna be honest, when you start watching film, everybody's in a 50 anymore. It seems like it's becoming the defensive choice right now.
Well, you got another person on your staff that has some local ties here to Caldwell County, and that's Coach Tim Bush. Talk a little bit about him and his responsibilities.
Right now he's covering my class, so that'd be the first thing.
That's good.
Yeah, I called him and said, "Come over and cover my class." But Coach Bush is just like Coach Jones. He does whatever. He drives the bus for us. He's a co-offensive coordinator, and to be honest, he's become more of the offensive coordinator in the last 2 years. As he's been up top, he calls as many plays, if not more, than I do now. And it's one of those things. Me and him were good friends in high school, and coming up, and he comes in when Coach Jones does, and I can't say enough good things about what he does. And we got some younger guys in on the staff, and I was going to try to alleviate Tim some of his responsibilities, and told him, I said, well, you don't have to do JV anymore. He said, no, I want to do JV. So he's still out there calling the JV offense and working with the JV guys too, because he wants to help with those young guys and mold those young guys too. So it's just the type guy that he is.
Of course, we have his sister over here as our head girls basketball coach, Melissa. So that's the local flavor that we threw in there. Coach, tell us a little bit about your quarterback. We've heard a lot of good things about him, and I think he's moved over to you this year, coming from Christian County. Tell us a little bit about him.
He moved in at the tail end of football season last year, and didn't get him on the football field, but he wound up playing basketball as soon as he got in here. And to be honest, he's a great kid. Before I could ever talk about him athletically, I have to talk about him academically and as a student. He's a straight A guy, hard worker. He keeps kids after practice, and if his routes don't look the way he wants them and his throws, then he hold on one second. If his routes doesn't look the way he wants in practice, something of that nature, he'll keep kids afterwards and work, and sometimes spend as much as 40 more minutes after practice putting in additional time. And Saturday morning we had a quarterback battle, to be honest, and it would be the next day. It would be what I need to work on or this, that, and he's asking questions constantly about what he can do to make himself better. And then as far as the game goes, he's a sophomore. He hasn't played football since he was in 8th grade, and he's just become a sponge of the game, and is really a leader for us as well. And it doesn't hurt that he's 210 pounds and runs decently well too. And we had some kids that were contenders to be our quarterback. And the first day he threw his first ball, one of the guys who was the contenders looked at me and said, "You think it'd be possible if I started working some other positions?" So it was very evident when he first came out that he was probably going to be the quarterback.
Well, what class did you say he was?
He's sophomore.
There's a good chance he might move to Princeton then. You never know.
Yeah, we hope not. We hope we can keep our hands on him right where he's at. He's happy to be in Trice County, and he's had some. Everybody and their mama talks to him and likes him, so he's got family in a lot of different places. But he's happy to be a Trice County Wildcat right now.
Good deal. I'm glad he's doing well for you.
How's the health of your team, Coach?
We lost Chris Odom, who was probably returning our best defensive lineman. We lost him with ACL.
I've heard several ACLs this season.
And we lost him. And then Michael Brown was our kicker, and we lost him with a stress fracture. And he, of course, is a baseball and basketball guy first, so he could have probably come back and played as a kicker. But he decided at that point he just wanted to be finished with it because he didn't want to jeopardize it, for basketball, and that was fine. We understood that. But other than those two guys right there, we're as healthy right now as we've been in 3 weeks. So, we're excited about that for the first time in a while.
Well, we think it's going to be the makings of a great game tonight. Is there any special thing going on? It's not homecoming or anything, is it?
No. I think the 87 teams having their class reunion as a tailgate before the game. and they may have some of those guys, if any of the football players show up, they may have some of those guys walk the football out onto the field for, as honorary captains or something like that. But that's not a guaranteed set in stone because they don't even know who all's going to show up. So that's just the only potential thing that we really have going on.
Well, Coach, it's going to be great weather once again. We've really been blessed here this football season. I think every Friday night has been almost awesome. Perfect. It's probably a little warmer than we'd like it at this time of the year, but I think we're going to get this thing in without the rain getting here. I don't think it's supposed to get here until tomorrow or Sunday. But, I know you're expecting a big crowd. Caldwell always brings a great crowd over to your place, and you always bring a great crowd to our place, and it's a good rivalry.
And I'm going to be honest, that was another reason that we were thinking, in regards to the 139 Bowl is that, neither one of us need to lose this game as far as the revenues that it generates for the school, too. It's a big-time generator. And, when y'all brought Sindelar over, I think his junior year, it paid for a lot of people in Trigg County's sports that year because, y'all brought a lot of money and a lot of dollars into our community. And it is that way. It's a game that, and we talked to our kids about that. There's been years that, one team would be 3-0, the other team would be 0-3, and it's still a ball game. So, we hope that we can get back to that level. It hadn't been that way in the last few years, but we hope we can get back to where we can compete with you guys.
Let me ask you one question. This is not about your team, but is there an old player, a friend of mine that played when I played? We stayed in the room together at the All-Star game. Eddie Radford. Is he still around over there?
I'm pretty sure that he passed away.
Eddie did? Okay. I knew David. I think David. I didn't know about Eddie.
Okay. I'm not for sure, but I'm pretty sure that Eddie has passed away. Matter of fact, I'm almost certain that he did because they had a big celebration out here on the football practice field not too long ago. So I'm pretty sure that he passed.
I know that was one heck of a family in athletics. I know that for a fact. And
his grandson is Javen Jones, the one that played running back for us a few years back.
Okay.
Who's at Lindsey Wilson now. So.
Okay.
Well,
anyway,
I
just wanted to ask about him. I meant to get over there when he was inducted into the Urals Hall of Fame, but I didn't get to come. So anyway,
there was another player I was going to ask about. One of the all-time greats, Greg Bridges. What's Greg doing now?
Greg's in Paducah. Works at Paducah Tillman, I think. I don't know. He does not coach any football.
Well, he was coaching at Campbellsville, right? Campbellsville. For a while?
Yeah, he did maybe a while, but he's been in Paducah for a little while now, and I think he's helped some even with the track team. I don't know what he's coaching as far as now, but I know he's living in Paducah because he was at the game Friday night when we played over there.
Well, he was a dandy, I tell you. And Al Baker, you can go back to the list of great players over there, and of course Tony Holland. We see Big Tony every now and then that played at Trigg County, and just a great number of players that's come out of Trigg County. Of course, David Sadler was a great player for Trigg County. Went on to Alabama and played, and I think you still have the David Sadler Bowl, don't you?
Well, we dropped it this year as a bowl game. It was the first year we didn't have a bowl here in quite some time. So, we had Mr. Sadler. We had honored with that. With the bowl game there.
Well, I tell you, there's a lot of great people. Last year, DT and I had on with us Coach Jim Wallace and George Radford.
Yep.
And what a pleasure they were to have here, and two Trigg County greats. And
those are classic men. It's men like them, that help, and Coach Jones and some others, and Coach Sig and some of those guys in there that encouraged and made people like myself and Coach Bush get into education and teaching too. So I mean,
Buddy Perry.
What about Buddy Perry? I was going to ask about old Buddy. How's Buddy doing?
I don't really know. I hadn't seen him in a while. I saw him at the Hall of Fame maybe 2 years ago, the Hall of Fame dinner that they do, and I think that may have been the last time that I've seen him. So
we didn't mean to quiz you. We were just asking about this.
You're good. You're good.
We don't get to see. We get to run into him every now and then, but we don't see him as often as we once did. And of course, a lot of that has to do with the 5th District, basketball and baseball, being separated. But we do have you back in the district in football, and, we're going to continue this rivalry, and we're looking for an outstanding game tonight, and we want to Thank you for coming on this morning, Kobe, and we want to wish you the best of luck.
Hey, not a problem at all. Appreciate it. Thank y'all.
Thank you.
We've been talking to Coach Kobe Lewis, the head football coach at Trigg County High School. We'll be right back on Tiger Sports Talk with DT and Gator. You're listening to 103.3 FM, The Tiger.
Trice Hughes in Princeton would like to give a big shout out to one of our own, Jeff McDowell. Jeff has given Trice Hughes 34 years as one of our top service technicians, and General Motors thinks so also, as they selected Jeff in the top 20 service technicians out of over 7,000 in the Southeast region. We are so proud of you, Jeff. The extra time and dedication it takes to achieve this honor speaks volumes about him. Trice Hughes Incorporated offers top-notch service on all your GM and Chrysler vehicles by certified technicians Monday through Friday, 6:30 a.m. to 3:30 p.m. Call 270-365-5522 for your appointment today. Trice Hughes Incorporated, Highway 91 North in Princeton. It's that time of year again. Soon leaves will be falling. Football and deer season is right around the corner. When those little critters get stirring around, sometimes our vehicles get in their way. When that happens, Trice Hughes Incorporated hopes you remember our body shop to get you back on the road. We offer free estimates, 3-stage paint process that is guaranteed as long as you own your vehicle, and certified technicians that together offer 120 years of combined experience. We keep rental vehicles readily available, so even if your car is out of commission, you don't have to be. Trice Hughes Incorporated, Highway 91 North in Princeton. New car buyers, listen up. We need to move our new car and truck inventory fast, and we need your trade. At Trice Hughes Incorporated, we know the dollar is tight, but there's never been a better time to buy a new vehicle. With fantastic rebates, low rates, awesome trade allowance, and 7 American car lines to choose from, Trice Hughes Incorporated is sure to fit you with the perfect vehicle at a price that's pleasing. And as always, if we don't have what you want on our lot, we'll find it for you. Don't go out of town for a good deal. Stay in town for a great deal. Trice Hughes Incorporated, where your trade is worth more. Trice Hughes in Princeton would like to give a big shout out to one of our own, Jeff McDowell. Jeff has given Trice Hughes 34 years as one of our top service technicians, and General Motors thinks so also, as they selected Jeff in the top 20 service technicians out of over 7,000 in the Southeast region. We are so proud of you, Jeff. The extra time and dedication it takes to achieve this honor speaks volumes about him. Trice Hughes Incorporated offers top-notch service on all your GM and Chrysler vehicles by certified technicians Monday through Friday, 6:30 a.m. to 3:30 p.m. Call 270-365-5522 for your appointment today. Trice Hughes Incorporated, Highway 91 North in Princeton.
Back here at Tiger Sports Talk with DT and Gator, here live at 103.3 FM, The Tiger. We want to thank Kobe Lewis for calling in this morning and giving us a preview of tonight's game against Caldwell County Tigers and Trigg County Wildcats. We did leave out a few names we probably should have mentioned on all-time greats at Trigg County. And, you can go back to the years that they won their state championship in 1972 and 3, I believe they were. Joe Kelly Jaggers, a local product here, was the head coach there, and his brother Johnny was an assistant. And, of course, Marty, who is Joe's son, played at Trigg County High School and went on to a good college career at Western Kentucky University and in the coaching ranks as well. So we didn't want to leave out the Jaggers family.
No, all three of them still from Trigg County. But anyway, I want to give a shout out too on this for just a minute. Miss Paulette Gray came running by a while ago. She was running fast too, buddy.
And she had her headset on.
She did listening to us, but they're having some kind of a reunion here next week, aren't they? Is it a class reunion?
Yep. Have a separate poly eyes and then go to the game.
Separate poly eyes and go to the game. All right, good deal.
What
Hello,
class?
Paulette. Thank you for waving at us.
82.
The class of 1982, okay? We got Coach Barnes still with us here in the studio, and Coach, we're not going to reflect that much on tonight's game right now. You've already discussed it a little bit, but next week's going to be a big week here, and, of course, we start fall break on Monday, and I know you're not a big fan of having to play a football game on fall break, but it's a big home encounter with Fort Campbell Falcons are coming over, and it's also Hall of Fame night.
Yeah, we had that night set for homecoming and ended up having to move it because of fall break, and so it fit in well that we could put the Hall of Fame game there. And we've been a few years without having a Hall of Fame, so it's good that we're bringing that back. And The class that's coming in is a really, really good class of people and players, and we're glad to see them. And what we'll do is they'll come in, and they're Brian Jaggers and Johnny Jaggers going to have a little thing set up on the visitor side by the team room, field house for those guys before the game.
A tent? Are they going?
A tent.
Okay.
And then we'll honor those guys at halftime of our game against Fort Campbell.
Well, we're going to have two of them that we hadn't had on yet live next Friday morning on our Tiger Sports Talk program, and that being Coach Kenny Barrett, who is a former Butler High graduate and player, and now he's retired. And we're going to have your brother Mark on.
Yeah, that'll be there's two guys off of my foot that I played with in high school. Stan Hudson, which you've already had on, is going to go on that team, and then my brother Mark. And, it's those two guys I played with, and they were a year behind me. I was a senior and they were a junior, but they're two really good football players.
Well, one thing about it, Mark doesn't say a whole lot, but Coach Barrett will take his place. I guarantee you that.
Coach B, I tell you what, he's a treat now, and we had him on last year on a call-in interview, and I mean, he was probably one of the best we've ever had.
He was talking when we were leaving,
and and he was talking about the memory that sticks out in my mind is when he thought he broke his neck.
Well, he did break it, he said.
And they loaded him up on a piece of plywood.
Said they didn't have a gurney. They loaded me up on a piece of plywood. I broke my neck.
Put him in the back of a station wagon and took him to the hospital. That should be a treat. So we want everyone to tune in next Friday morning to listen to Mark Barnes and Coach Kenny Barrett. Coach, just back on tonight's game, Trick County Wildcats. We know that it's on the road. Anytime you go on the road, you got to reach down for a little bit extra, and but our kids don't seem intimidated on where they go, and how do we line? Are we pretty healthy tonight? And
we have one kid that Ben Holt hurt his back last week in last week's game, and he's going to be out this week.
That's one of those cheap shots I was talking about.
Yeah, he's out for this week.
Who's going to be taking his place?
We're going to start out with Tate Van Hooser as a freshman. We're going to start in that position. We can there's other we can move Jameer from out of the backfield back to that position as well, or we can move a couple other kids into that spot. We're going to give Tate a shot. He's done a good job for us on the JV team, made some good catches, and he deserves a shot.
Good deal. Yeah, he'll be ready. He'll give you everything he's got anyway.
Two Van Hoosers on the field.
You're going to have two Van Hoosers starting tonight. Well, that's great to hear.
Anything bad happens, you'll have a third one. Ben come out there.
And Drake, too. Coach, I tell you, there's a lot going on, and I know that you're not a real big fan of fall break, especially in season. Do you have plans? I mean, how's it going to change your format? Are you going to try to keep things as normal as possible, or?
If you take Kevin Wallace and Joe Morris, those guys, their fall break ends up falling on their open week dates. So, Joe told his kids after the game on Friday, I'll see you next Sunday a week. So he gave them all week off. And Kevin does the same thing at Bowling Green. And, you look at it, those are two teams that are always in the state championship games. So it doesn't hurt you.
No. But
we don't have that luxury. We got to play Friday night against Fort Campbell. So our kids know that, I keep them on the same schedule. Colby was talking about practicing early in the morning. That always ends up somebody doesn't show up. They sleep, they don't get out of bed, they don't get to practice. So we're going to stay on the same schedule. We'll watch film and then practice just like we did a school day. That way we stay on the same, kind of keep them in sync a little bit. And then, Friday, you always worry about on Friday, laying around in bed all day or not getting up and moving around. So not a whole lot you can do that other than bring them in that morning. But our kids have to come from so many places that that's really not a good deal. So you just hope that they get up and get ready to play. But no, I do not like fall break.
It's when we coached, it's terrible. I mean, because even you guys, I mean, I wasn't, but you guys are hunters, and if you want to dove hunt, you want to hunt as bad as the kids do.
Oh yeah.
We played Reed in high school back when we were playing them, and they had fall break the week before we played them. He had half his team went to Florida and missed practice. Came back on that Thursday before we played. Thought they were going to play, and but thank goodness our kids know that we're going to practice, and that game means more than going to Florida.
And I believe last year I read somewhere Fort Knox had to cancel a
Yes.
game because of fall break because all their kids were gone.
Right.
And they had to forfeit.
Exactly.
So, it's not – I know kids and teachers look forward to it, having a week off, but, as a coach, it's not very –
No.
It's not something you look
And,
forward to.
we're sitting here talking, too, as teachers and coaches, and these people that work at out here, where what is it called, what is it now?
Treehouse.
Places like that, when they get a break, if they get a break, they're going to take their kids or they won't. I mean, why would you go to somewhere if your kids can't go with you? And it's hard to do one way or the other. So, it's tough.
And, we still got a lot of activities going on school-wide next week.
We got district
soccer and is volleyball
volleyball plays, I think, got one game next week, and then I think their district starts the following week.
That's exactly right.
About the only season that's wound up has been boys golf.
Golf, yeah.
And, we want to send our congratulations out to our old buddy down here at Lyon County. And Colin Brown. And he was runner-up this year in the state. And I saw where on Channel 6, I believe the other night, they said right after that tournament, he left and went to Oklahoma, and he's playing in another tournament this week. So, he's one that we'll probably want to try to have on.
If we can, yeah.
And he's an awful fine young man, and
he was very gracious on the news. When he didn't win, he was very gracious to the other guy.
And also, we want to send the best luck out to Emma Talley.
Yeah,
and Symmetra to her,
big weekend.
Big weekend for her. And yesterday, I think they got rained out. She got 5 holes in and shot 1 under par, and is leading the tournament at this point in time. And hopefully, the weather will cooperate, and she'll get a good finish here, and could be a very exciting weekend for the family. Yep.
And I hope it does. Like you said earlier, that they said there's a possibility of even not playing a tournament, but the weather down there there's going to rain. It's going to rain.
Long as the lightning.
I know it. I hope she can hang in there. I hope she does.
I just checked, and they haven't resumed play. It's still showing play
Well,
suspended.
They must have had a bad storm.
Yeah.
Trees may be down or what have you, but to get the course back in shape. But it's a big weekend, I know, for her and her family, and as well as the people here in the community keeping up with her own. And you can keep up with her on SymmetraTour.com. And also on Sunday, they have intentions of the final round being live on Facebook. So if you have Facebook, they're going to have the final round, I think, from noon to 2 o'clock, our Central Standard Time. So you can.
And just looking at this leaderboard now, in the top 8, let's see, the number 1, number 2, number 7, number 9, number 5, Emma, and the number 8 player all bunched in there right at the top right now. So if they resume play, it's going to be pretty exciting to see where everybody shakes out.
Yeah,
because Todd was in yesterday talking about the mathematical aspect. Just the players below the top 10, if some things happen, I mean it's quite close.
It is.
Yeah. Well, our thoughts and prayers are with her and her family, and we just want to wish her the best. Also, I think our middle school football team wound up their season this past week.
Eighth grade, 7th grade won, 8th grade got beat.
Who
played Crittenden County?
Crittenden County. So our 7th grade
they won,
and our 8th grade was defeated by Crittenden.
Yes.
Okay. What was the final?
The 8th grade final was 28-20. I don't know what the 7th grade was.
Okay.
28-20 on the 8th grade.
Well, they both had successful seasons, and we want to wish Coach Kukahiko and Coach Harrelson.
The 7th grade kind of impressed people a little bit, didn't
they?
They
came on.
They didn't know whether they were going to do that well or not.
Right. And I know they were probably disappointed in losing to Crittenden, but things are looking up, and you'll get a good bunch of 8th graders that'll be freshmen next season, and things are looking good for the Caldwell County football program.
And the JV beat Hopkinsville Monday night, Monday night too, 20-12.
Okay,
yeah,
JV. Good. That's great. Do we have a JV game this coming Monday?
We got our last JV game Monday night at Trigg County.
At Trigg County.
Our last JV game.
Last JV game will be this Monday at Trigg County.
I always looked at it like we didn't mind losing to Crittenden in the 8th grade.
Right. Exactly. We didn't want to lose to them on the varsity.
Starting freshman on up, we didn't want to do it.
Yeah, right.
They had Coach Starnes. They had a big deal for Coach Starnes last week at his game, and
I saw where he got a rocking chair.
got a rocking chair, and over 100 players came back for that night. So that's a good thing for Coach Starnes.
That's nice, man. You've been there 27 years. I bet there's a bunch of them that could come back.
Exactly, and I of course I told him they need to put a statue of him.
Oh man,
you know, somebody to stay there that long and had the success that he's had, and just an outstanding career.
Yep.
And they're looking pretty good in their district right now. So you know, we want to wish the Rockets the best of luck in their coming weeks, and it's winding on down, Coach. It's not too far from playoff time.
This season, I told our kids when we started, it'll fly by, it'll be over with before you know it. And this season, of all of them, seems to me like it's just flown by.
And so much improvement. I mean, from week to week.
Seems like yesterday I told you I was going to come up there and sit on that hill with your daddy and watch practice first day. You know, here it's almost over.
Yeah, it has flown by.
Well, I'm telling we're really much improved football team in the beginning, and I think the quality of the opponents that we've played has a lot to do with it. And we mentioned earlier, winning breeds winning, and you know, those kids believe in themselves and believes in our coaching staff, and you know, that takes you a long ways. And we just want to wish you the best of luck in the coming weeks, and especially tonight against the Trice County Wildcats.
The big thing about tonight is, you know, if we can win this game, it puts us 3-0 in this district, which, you know, should wrap it up as a district champion, which then, with the way the calendar falls, we'll have every home game that we have in the playoffs at our place up until the finals. And
that's a big advantage.
And I asked you, and we didn't really understand, is there a different playoff system now this time?
It didn't affect us. There are some classes where they're going cross district. Like there are teams that may travel 3 or 4 hours to play a playoff game based on their crossing districts.
But we're not affected.
We're
not this year.
Okay.
No.
So we will compete against.
We'll compete against Adair, Hart, Adair, E-Town,
Elizabethtown,
County.
Okay.
I know LaRue. I believe LaRue County and E-Town are tied right now.
Yeah, they're both undefeated. They play next week, I think. And then Hart County and Adair County are kind of down. You know, we've been playing them the last 2 years. Adair County had a really good football team.
Yeah.
I think
they did.
Lost a lot of kids.
Mm-hmm. The Stevens boy, we had him on.
Yeah, that's right.
Last year.
That's where. Yeah, that's right.
Adair County.
Yeah. So
I coached him when I was at Warren East.
You coached his daddy.
Oh, well, the boy. That's who I was calling the boy.
Oh, okay. Was his name Dennis?
Danny.
Danny Stevens.
And he had a brother, Dennis, but he passed away.
Okay. Yeah. So
I was looking at the schedule tonight. Pikeville is at Callaway County.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, Pikeville.
Pikeville
is at Callaway County tonight.
That's a vacation.
Sure that's not a miss.
I mean, can you believe that?
You can't travel any further in the state than from Pikeville to.
Well, when we came from Warren East to play Mayfield over there, we thought that was terrible.
Yeah, I mean that's what this says. Now whether it's a misprint, I don't know.
That's right.
That's
I think Pikeville had 2 games and they had to.
My goodness, that's in West Virginia, isn't it?
Just about. Yeah, that's
so
a long way over there.
After tonight, Fort Campbell's our last district game.
Right.
Then we have an open date.
And then we got Mayfield.
And then we have Mayfield.
But if we win tonight, and both games, we have home field for every game we win over here on the playoffs, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Because we beat Tillman head to head.
Right.
And
so if we win it,
tonight's game is huge.
We could play every game at home during the playoffs.
So far the hook and trailer has been a dandy play for us.
Well, I know Will's got to have another trick up his sleeve.
I hope he does.
I hope he does.
And then you got I had Coach Schaefer on a while ago, and we were very fortunate to be able to have Boyce Nichols be our kicker.
I was going to say our kicking game.
Boyce has really done a great job, in spite of his daddy.
Troy was up there. Of course, he sit up there behind me at the last home game against Tillman. And, of course, when he went in there for a field goal, he was on pins and needles. But just outstanding kicker and, of course, outstanding family. And we're blessed here in Caldwell County to have the type of players and parents that we have. And, we're just very fortunate.
He sat behind me at the Union game, and I kept turning around, and I kept seeing a guy that had gray hair and this and that and the other, and he kept smiling when I was talking to. And finally, I got up and went over there, and I looked at him. I said, "Junior McGowan," and that's who it was. And he talked to me forever, and he pointed to me. He said, "Boy," he said, "I'm glad to be home." And he said, "I got 2 boys that They love football. And he pointed at that little one, though, and he said, he going to be pretty good.
I've watched that little one play. He's a fourth grader. And my granddaughter is a cheerleader. Of course, I had to go to went to the Little League game, and he reminds you a lot of Junior. I tell you, it's great seeing Junior McGowan.
His son started Friday night.
Yeah,
as a freshman.
Yes,
he's a freshman.
Yeah, he told me. He said he'd rather be on defense, but he'll play anywhere. That's what he said.
I know those boys have got to have his aggression. He was one of the most aggressive players we played against.
Well, I went up and told him, I said, Junior, I've never told you this, but did you know Jack Morris? He said, no. And anyway, I told him the story. He said, well, people always told me they thought I played the best game of my career in Graves County. He said, I thought it was Mayfield.
Yeah.
And it was.
Yeah. That's a very good compliment on Junior McGowan. Well, guys, that's about
we've gone too
winds
long.
us up, I guess, for another morning. It's 9:07, Todd. Ty.
And thank you for your help this morning, brother.
Yeah, thank
we
you.
appreciate
I'm
your
sorry
input.
for being late.
We appreciate your input.
Thanks for playing my song this morning at 7:15.
You know, Coach, that is a Friday tradition from here on out. I got it at about 7:15. We're going to play Poke Salad Annie.
Oh my God!
Just get us ready for the game.
Yeah, Poke Salad.
That's one of my favorites. One of Coach's favorites. So.
Yeah.
Just a good way to get your Friday rolling.
Gators got you granny, huh?
Gators got you
That's
granny.
That's good for him too.
Yeah.
Yeah, it sure does.
Well, once again, we want to thank everyone for tuning in this morning and listening to Tiger Sports Talk. Tune in again next Friday morning at 8 a.m. and you'll hear another version of Tiger Sports Talk with DT and Gator.
It's that
New
time
car
of year
buyers,
again.
listen
Soon
up.
Leaves
We
will be
need to
following
move our new
football
car
and
and
beer
truck
season
inventory
is right
fast,
around the
and we
corner.
need
Trice Hughes in Princeton would like to give a big shout out to one of our own, Jeff McDowell. Jeff has given Trice Hughes 34 years as one of our top service technicians, and General Motors thinks so also, as they selected Jeff